It's another beautiful day to begin the week with. I hope you enjoyed your weekend because I did. I don't know if you did the one bear and the rest of its kind, but this is your newspaper review on Nigeria Television, and we will be bringing you top headlines that is across Nigeria and even the continent at large and the world, touching every stories and every topic that rides on the lips of us all. Now we'll be diving into the first on our list, which is the Daily Independent newspaper, where we see that Anambra Guda polls, best ever by INEC, says re-elected Soludo. We also see decided that Intel may face challenge despite relaunch promises fresh investment. And the big headline, sky high fears in Nigeria's bound on expanding web of the federal government levies. And if you look beneath it in page 7, we see that UK warns its citizens against traveling to Borno, Yobe, Adamawa, and other northern states alike. We also see in page 6 that Anambra Guda Swaps gives INEC 7 days to report vote bullying sponsors to EFCC, ICP, as well as the police. We also see beneath it in that same page 7 that no work, no pay. Rule can't dictate workers from strike. NASU, that's NASU, has come out to tell the federal government. And in page 6, we see that the federal government okay 3 new policies to boost civil service productivity. And if you also look beside that particular headline, we see that NSCIA urges Christians to reject external efforts to destabilize Nigeria. Now we'll be diving into the next front page, which is the Nigerian News Direct newspaper. We see on that newspaper front page that REAMD named new direct public sector CEO of the year in page 3. That's a beautiful one. Congratulations to him. We also see that 14 killed, 30 adopted in the renewed attack on the southern Kaduna in 1 week. So SOKAPU has come out to say in page 5. And we also see that terror-related deaths have dropped by 81%. The presidency has come out to claim. And if you look beneath that particular headline, we see that bank flood, CBN with record of 4.8 trillion naira as liquidity glut deepens in page 13. Also, the story of the UK declaring Borno, Yobe, Zamfara, others as unsafe to visit to their the people who reside in that particular state. We also see in page 3, that's in page 3, and the big headline, opposition kicks as Soludo re-elected Anambra governor due to the last election that they had. And moving to the next newspaper front page, the Guardian newspaper, we see that Soludo triumphs in Anambra State after the election. ADC observes decry and vote buying in that particular election in page 6. We also see in that same page that Nestoil and NECOT 6 vacation of court order on OML 42 assets. And if you look above that particular newspaper front page, we see that HEDA urges Tinubu to pause 15% fuel import tariff and meets the hardship that is going on in the country in page 5. And we also see in page 3 that court hears motion on PDP on November convention today. We also see that the IMF, Nigeria discuss reform, new development plan in page 3. And in page 6, that Soludo triumph as Anambra as ADC observes the cry of vote buying. Now moving to beneath that newspaper, we see that Trump comments threatens national unity. NSCIA wants and demands retraction in page 6. We also see that Anambra says to swap. Both party urges INEC to propose persecute vote buying due to the last governorship election in Anambra State. And that story can be found in page 7. If you look at that same page 7, we see that NCS records revenue surge as Port Harcourt commands earn 33 billion naira in October, and Nigeria loses $8 billion yearly to idle safers and deploy CVFT disbursement. And if you look, I think that's all for that newspaper front page. Now moving to the next newspaper is the New Telegraph newspaper. We see that Soludo re-elected Anambra governor with 422,664 votes in INEC declaration. We also, that story can be found in page 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7 of that newspaper. And in page 25, we see that NNPCL orders reduce fuel pump price. We also see in page 5 that BBCDG new CEO reigns over Trump's documentary edit. And also in page 4 that federal government condemns sabotage on Abuja Kaduna Kano Road. We also see in page 5 that NASU to federal government respect pact, stop threatening us with no work, no pay statement. We also see in page 2, 5, and 8 that NSCIA faults target killing claims, says its agenda is to destabilize Nigeria. We also see that study links flourished to board health risk in page 26 of that particular newspaper. And if you look at Bovit, that I don't think ADC has an answer to Nigerians' challenge, Shetima has come out to say, as the SDP leadership crisis deepens in page 9, 10, and 11 of that newspaper. We also see in page 30 that 14 years after APCON returns Timber to Cross River government. We also see that in page 14 and page 16, why corruption persisting is injustice sector by lawyers. And beside it in page 4, we see that insecurity, that the United Kingdom has come out to warn their citizens against the travel to 16 states in Nigeria. Now, moving to the next newspaper front page, it's the Nation newspaper. Beautiful one there where we see my victory means election is getting better. Soludo has come out to tell his people. Tinubu says his re-election treatment to visionary leadership and other governors of other state hails and diverse victory of the Soludo's election won in that particular state. And we also see that there's a plot to take over the Nastoil and Necord interest in OML 42 unveils. And if you look beneath that particular big headline, we see that federal government to list 1 trillion naira estate funding on NGX, single digitized to this housing gap coming, and also beside it that how to attain multi-trillion naira economy by Abakoda in page 6, and World Cup playoff, Eagles reboot camp rubbles in page 47. We also see beneath it that PDP crisis throws Ekiti governorship primary won by Oyedele into storm in page 5 of that particular newspaper. Moving to the next newspaper front page, it's the Daily Trust newspaper where we see that there's a genocide claim, federal government silent on Amuputan legal brief, and we are not aware, senators come out to say in page 3 and 4 of that newspaper. If you look beneath it in page 12, we see that there's in Anambra, the LP ADC candidate rejects the results that Soludo is re-elected as the governor of Anambra State. And on page 8 of that newspaper, Trump threats, stock market loss hits 2.8 trillion naira. There's a protest in Kogi community over bandit attack in page 22. And if you look at the beneath that particular headline, we see that there's a 12-base university convocation ceremony that the president of Sierra Leone, Julius Mamba, delivering his convocational lectures in this 12th convocation ceremony of Bayes University, Abuja on Saturday. We also see that there's a picture of the counselor and founder Bayes of University, Senator D.T. Ba Ahmed, and PhD fastened with president of Sierra Leone being on that particular picture. If you look beside it, that's on that same front page, we see that there are points given as number one, the president of Sierra Leone, convocation speaker of Bayes University, 7th convocation ceremony, and His Excellency Julius Mba Bio left, and also a picture of the chancellor and founder of Bayes University, Senator Dati Mba Ahmed. Now moving to the next newspaper front page, it is the Vanguard newspaper. We see that there's a plot to take over Nostroil, and Accord's interest on OML 42 unveils. We also see the big headline that House Solodo tsunami swept all 21 local government areas in Anambra State. Governors hail INEC security agencies and polls record the best turnout in 20 years, as well as stakeholders fate the government and candidates. We also see that winners and losers, swaps want to sponsor vote buying, probe persecuted. Those are the kind of stories you see on that particular headline in page 5 of that newspaper. We also see that there's a breakdown of the local government results beside it. If you want the full story, you can find that in page 16, page 12, and as well as that same page 5. We also see beneath that headline that federal government exceed 2025 borrowing targets by 55.6%. It is expected to hit 80% by the end of this year in page 19 of that newspaper. And Trump, Anglican primate to federal government, seek foreign help if you can't stop the killing. They've come out to tell the federal government in page 9. Nigeria records 81% of drop in its career-related deaths since 2015. The presidency has come out to say. And U.S. watch list, Nigeria is not in religious war. NSCIA has come out to claim in that same page 9. In that same page, we see that UK has warned their citizens over traveling to 6 states in Nigeria. And autonomy, no evidence to show allocation reach local government directly in page 13. ICP as well as others has come out to make their claim. Now for the last front page newspaper, we see on the Punch newspaper that crude oil revenue plugs by 43%. The tension is mounting in fractional camps of the opposition party, Democratic Party, as more than 3,000 delegates prepare to convey on the ancient city of Ibadan, Oyo State, for the party national elective convention. That's the big headline. And we also see another headline that the maritime crisis between the senator representing Delta and Northern Senatorial District, Ned Nwoko, and the Nollywood actress Regina Daniel took further domestic turn, as on Sunday the actress came out to admit that she had used an illicit drug, but said that it was she was estranged by her husband and introduced to drugs for his sexual pleasure. That's the story on the issue between Regina Daniels and her husband. And moving to another headline, we see that opposition parties on Sunday condemned the conduct of Anambra 2025 governorship election, warning that the level of vote buying and institutional compliancy witnessed during this exercise posed a serious threat to the credibility of the 2027 general election. And we also see in that same headline that Solodo of All Progressive Grand Alliance on his re-election is describing the outcome as an affirmation of the visionary leadership and pledging a closer collaboration between the federal government and Anambra State. On the Punch newspaper front page, we see on another headline that the Nigerian Supreme Council of Islamic Affairs on Sunday dismissed the allegation of Christian genocide in Nigeria, describing it as false, dangerous, and politically motivated. Speaking to the press in the conference in Abuja, the NSCIA Secretary General Professor Ishaq Oloyede accused the Western media and political figures of rejecting the allegation of Christian genocide as part of an alleged coordinated campaign to destabilize Nigeria. But President of the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, Bishop Wale Oke, insisted that there is no Christian genocide in Nigeria and there is no other name to call it. No Christian group is attacking Muslims. Patience of the church is being stretched, Oke said during the visit to the Olubadan of Ibadan. We also see on that same front page in another headline that the federal government has assured residents and foreigners to improve security across Nigeria following a fresh travel warning issued by the United Kingdom. The UK Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office advised against the travel to Borno, Yobe, Adamawa, Gombe, Katsina and Zamfara states, citing the escalating violence, terrorism and kidnappings that is happening around that state. It also recommended that the British national avoid all essential travel to Bauchi, Kaduna, Kano, Kebbi, Jigawa, Sokoto, Niger, Kogi, Plateau, Taraba, and all parts of the Federal Capital Territory, warning that there's also a rise in violent crime and potential flashpoints such as protests in those particular states. Now moving to another headline on that same Punch front page, we see that the federal government has disclosed that more than 700 individuals have been convicted and jailed to terrorism-related offences across Nigeria, with several others' persecution currently underway. Now, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, stated in a response to the question from Punch newspaper that the number of convicted terrorists were mentioned, and in response to designation of the Nigeria as a country of particular concern by Donald Trump, the information minister had disclosed that last week 17,000 terrorists were in custody, and he denied the allegation that Christians were being persecuted in Nigeria. That is it for the front page of the Punch newspaper. Now we'll be going on a very short break, and when we come back, we'll be diving into our tech news. Do not go anywhere. Stay with us.
Beyond COVID vaccines to treat cancer and rare genetic diseases. The global synthetic biology market is expected to surpass $30 billion by 2030. By 2026, the line between biology and technology will blur even further, making synthetic biology one of the most transformative fields of the decade. So there you have it, 15 more technologies that, alongside the first 17 we covered, are set to define 2026. Together, they show how quickly innovation is moving beyond our screens and into every corner of our life, from the materials we use to the way we connect and even how we think. And if you missed part 1, make sure to check it out next. If you made it this far, let us know what you think in the comment section below. For more interesting topics, make sure you watch the recommended video that you see on the screen right now. Number 2, advanced neurotechnology beyond BCIs. Brain-computer interfaces grabbed headlines when Neuralink implanted its first chip in 20.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is your newspaper review on Idea Television, where we bring you with headlines that are bringing up innovations and breaking grounds in the society. And in one of which we have that Made in India milestone. Wimpro as well as IICS unveils an indigenous driverless car in Bengaluru. That's a beautiful innovation. In this innovation, we see that there's a collaborative effort between Wimpro and the India Institute of Science, IISC. And we see that in this, that India has just built its own self-driving driverless car, meaning that the car can move, steer, make driving decisions on its own without a human driver. This project is created through a team-up between 3 big names: Wimpro, who's a major Indian tech company, and India Institute of Science, one of the country's top research universities, and also RV College of Engineering, a leading engineering school in Bengaluru. Around the world, we have seen something close to this. We've seen Tesla, right from the one that they created, drone that help look after cars highway, and we've seen others that help actually improve drivers or help the drivers or assist the drivers. We've gone beyond all of that. Now we have cars that can actually drive themselves. They can think for themselves. They can make steps for themselves, even without the human being trying to do anything for themselves. So imagine yourself being in a particular situation where you need your car and you just have to tap and make some taps on your phone, and your car just drives to you and come and meet you, and you sit down inside and your car just helps you to keep driving. Now that is the situation that India has. An innovated invention that can actually not just change your school but also change your country. Now moving to the next tech news on our list, we see that China sends its youngest astronaut to heavily placed space station. That's another beautiful one. We see that China's Shanhu 21 space rocket and its crew, including the youngest members of its astronaut club, blasted off on Friday atop a Long March 2F rocket from Zhongquan. This Zhongquan Satellite Launch Center, northwest in China. Chinese stated to the media and reported that it is the seventh mission to permanently inhabit Chinese space station since it was completed in 2022. The mission on China's Shanhu 21 space aircraft involved the choice of astronauts on 6 months stay in space, with veterinarian astronauts increasingly replaced by the younger faces. First-timers Zhang Hongzhou, 39 years old, and Wu Fai, 32 years old, as well as China's youngest astronaut to be sent to space. Another beautiful thing about this particular news is that one of the astronauts, Wu Fai, is only 32 years old and is said to be the youngest amongst all the astronauts who has ever gone to space. And we also looked at there were some mice that were taken along with them. Now scientists have decided to study how animals actually reproduce out of the world and in space with zero gravity environments. And basically China is concluding to build more innovative way of making life better, not just for human beings but also for animals. And seeing how animals can actually reproduce is one of the things that China has made that is unique amongst other countries. Now we'll be concluding on that particular news on the Chinese. Now these are beautiful news. If in case you didn't watch from the beginning, you can go to our YouTube channel, Innovation Around the Continent and Beyond. And now we'll be drawing the curtain. But before we draw the curtain, do well to follow us on all our social media platforms. Like I've been stating from the beginning of the program, that you should follow us, you should subscribe, so that you can see programs like this pop up and also be able to watch them or replay them after the program had passed. Now we'll be closing it for today, but before I go, like I would always say and actually urge you, is to stay informed and stay safe. Bye for now.